What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron Man, Mr. Stark?
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. I'm your host, Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at News Need on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
South Carolina with Columbia down the way.
And sound effects you've heard come from none other than our man in Brooklyn, Agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads.
What's up, everybody? Co-hosting from the Borough of Kings. Happy to be with you guys, especially tonight.
Right here, big.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
Indeed. Hopefully you've had a good Halloween and didn't eat too much candy, and hopefully and also had a good half-price candy day as well after the fact, because you know some of y'all then went for it. And honestly, I would have too if I had actually had thought about it. And hopefully you went out and voted this past Tuesday for your local elections, because it is still important.
Yes, very important.
So, but with that out of the way, we are going to get into talking about the thing that we didn't get to talk about last week, and that is Star Wars Visions Season 3, or at least what we've seen of Star Wars Visions Season 3.
Right, because life is always going to life. Things, things happen. Things, take precedence. So, I only was able to get through 4 episodes of the 9-episode drop of Star Wars Visions, and what I saw was excellent. What I saw was high quality, and Roddykat and I were, in our pre-production meeting, we're chatting about what we at least had watched in common, and the first 4 episodes were great. Roddykat did warn me that there was something upcoming that I may have, that may give me pause, but we'll see what happens when we get there. But at least from what I've watched thus far, I appreciated it. Seeing the vision, seeing the homages, the clear homages that these creators are putting on screen, now that they have the ability and opportunity to play in the Star Wars IP sandbox, right? And putting the Japanese animation touch and style, and just kind of touching it with that like extra flourish that that's missing from like the animated Star Wars that we've gotten through Disney since that particular animation style has come has been developed. So I definitely appreciated it. We're not gonna, we could talk about some of the examples that we saw, but I'm going to hand it off to Roddykat so he can give his thoughts on this.
Yeah, not necessarily. So to address the giving pause, not necessarily give you pause, but maybe have you, in a good way, in your feels. Maybe. I'll put it.
Listen, I admit that there's an episode within the first 4 that almost made me cry. Yeah. I was like, oh wow, that's really good.
So, and the other thing I was going to say is that, who knew giving things an anime treatment can enhance can enhance things.
Right.
Shout out to Von Gloom, who is in the chat. Yes, Von Gloom, Star Wars Vision Season 3 came out last week, and we did not have a chance to check it out last week. And actually, honestly, because Von Gloom in the chat was like, already? Yeah. It kind of snuck up on us as well.
Right.
So we're not going to spoil it for folks, but actually, let me just go ahead and say the titles of the stuff, or at least the stuff that we've watched. Episode 1 was the Dual Payback, which is a callback to the first season. The second one was the Saga 4 Wings. The third one, the Ninth Jedi, Child of Hope, which, you know, that one's going to have a continuation of it, as we've seen. We can say that much. And I couldn't. Right. I did not know if that one also was something from that was had a continuation from last season or something, but I'm not sure.
Right. But that's the one that ended with a to be continued, right?
Correct.
Okay.
4 is the Bounty Hunters, and that's where Agent 70s ended up stopping. 5 is Yuko's Treasure. 6 is the Lost Ones, and that's where I ended up stopping. And episode 7 is the Smuggler. Episode 8 is the Bird of Paradise, and episode 9 is called Black. So therein lies that. What's up, Benji Games 2? Good to have you in the chat, sir.
Yes, welcome everybody. Welcome.
But yes, so you know, like I said, given stuff the anime treatments, it continues to be good, and like Agent 7 said, having folks play in the Star Wars universe, you know, and enhance it in certain ways, you know, can only be beneficial to the world and the franchise as it is. The one thing that was kind of funny, and Agents, well, two things. One that Agent 70 mentioned prior to the show was that, you know, as we said to him, sometimes you can just go through this stuff and you get a checkbox. You just checkbox things. And and Agent 70 mentioned that he heard the Wilhelm scream, which is a staple at this point of many things, not just the Star Wars universe, but just in general, but also the Star Wars universe. So in one episode, hearing the Wilhelm scene was one of the things. The other thing that was kind of funny to me was like their use of their use of folk in different ways. Specifically, Ewoks show up. In one of these snow Ewoks at that. It was like, hey, wait a minute, you're out of your element, pals. But
you're out of your element,
right? But used in a similar way that they came into the franchise for, which was good to see, you know, and you know, many such touches that happened in the show, in the episodes that we watched. So I don't expect that the last couple that we watch is going to be any short of doing such thing. One of them, wait, let me make sure, did you watch that one or not? Yeah, the Bounty Hunter episode kind of also gave me thoughts of like Andor and Clone Wars and stuff like that, when they have a similar plot happening, you know, or in that stuff. But it was like, but there was touches of it that just kind of reminded me of Andor for some strange reason. But yeah, and also, I forgot which one we were just talking about. The one that gave a magical girl / transformation sequence. Which, if you know anything about me, I do love me a good transformation sequence. So in it, and it was like, all right, this is some good stuff. Von Gloom said, I wanted to see the Star Wars Visions format adapted to Marvel and redeem those horrid Marvel. I have not watched those Marvel anime, or at least not a lot of it. So I think I've seen bits and pieces of them. But I mean, there's a chance that could happen. Who even knows if they're willing to do it? I mean, they're already doing mangas of the stuff, so it's not, you know, that would just be an adaptation of stuff they've already done in manga form, if they're going to do that. And Wagner says he was working an extra shift last week. It's probably why you forgot about Star Wars. Yeah, I mean, I understand you work late anyway, so it's understandable. Yeah. But yeah, Visions season 3 does not disappoint. From what we can say that we have seen so far, I think it's safe to say that. And you know, whether we have anything to report next week on the rest of it, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, people out there have already seen it at this point and may even watch it again. You know, I know we both found out we both ended up watching it in English for different reasons.
Right.
But Or maybe even say similar. I don't know. I didn't even think about switching it over to Japanese. Honestly, that was kind of my whole thing. I was like, you know what, it's already here. I'm just letting it go the way it is. I might actually rewatch it in Japanese because I'm silly like that. If it ever happens,
depending upon how much time I have to give to it.
So, and that being said, the voice work was good. Like some as Agent 70 mentioned, some notable voice work from people he recognized.
Right, absolutely. Ronnie Chang and Anna Sawai.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh wait, I know that voice. So as soon as the episode ended, I definitely had the credits up on my screen to double check.
Yeah, I guess that was the one thing I normally do, but I did not do because I think if I caught it as they were flashing by, then I was like, oh, I know that, and that's how I noticed the Anna Sawai one, but I didn't.
Right.
But they were the credits were going by kind of fast, and I just didn't stop it. I was like, I'm just gonna get to the next one so I can kind of bat these out, and I'll go back later on. So, not they put you to sleep, Von Gloom. To be fair, that's not, no offense, but that's not hard for you nowadays. Again, with the shift as you work, so it's also understandable. But I don't know. No, I thought it was good, and I don't know. Von Gloom says, I remember watching the opening, then waking up 3 hours later. That might be for a different reason, not necessarily because of the fact that they were not good. It's just like, no, you just work crazy hours.
Yep. You're just
trying to watch anything is kind of
catching an early train or something,
right? So plus, I don't
definitely my experience.
Yeah. Plus, also, I think you got kids, so that's another whole situation. So, but regardless, if you get a chance to watch them again, and hopefully you'll be able to, watch them with fresh eyes, and you see what you think about them then. But, but basically, kind of to wrap it up, and if Agent 70's got anything else to say about it, because it's probably may or may not do. I need to go back and watch season 2 because as I found out that I did not watch them, and there might be something in season 3 that might have a continuation that I didn't know about from what I've watched in season 3, but we'll see. The only one that I know that had the continuation was the very first one, but I remember that one from season 1. So go figure. And yeah, Von Gloom, you did pretty much the same thing that Agent 70 did. He said he'd watch in English if he's unable to devote full attention to a show. Or not, it's a similar reason. But not necessarily the same reason, but yeah.
Right. Not exactly the same, but kind of fulfilling the same purpose.
Right. So understood. But yeah, like I said, folks, I don't know. Agent 7, you got anything else you wanted to mention about the show?
No, because I've only gotten through 4, so I'm willing to reserve judgment on the series until I'm able to at least get another big chunk of viewing in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Understood. And with that, I don't know, maybe like I said, we may if need be revisit it next week if there's something
especially if we're able to get like either the rest or at least a good chunk of the rest viewed, maybe we'll revisit and give our full take on on this season of Star Wars Visions.
Mm-hmm. Not you lost your owl status, that you can't do that, you can't. But that being the case, we are going.
Is that some Harry Potter stuff? No, I'm kidding.
I was about to. No, I think that's funny.
Night owls, I presume.
Yes, that'd be crazy. Especially with what we just found out recently about old bird. Anyway,
old JK, person we hate giving money to apparently now. So
yeah, and what we found out she's using the money for apparently.
Right.
So anyway, but that's a whole nother situation on a whole separate other side. We are going to get into the books of the week, starting off. Yeah, The Duel had a sequel. So actually, part of that kind of messed me up for a quick second because of something that happened in it. I was like, damn, you just took it to that thing, huh? But anyway, we're going to get into books of the week, and I need to get my covers up You're starting off with G.I. Joe number 13.
And knowing is half the battle.
Alrighty, G.I. Joe number 13 is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Tom Riley. Colors are by Jordi Belair and letters are by Russ Wooton. So this is the first issue where a pretty familiar, well, listen, if you're of a certain vintage and you're a fan of G.I. Joe, right? A certain group basically enters and steals the show, right? Almost literally, right? They basically take center stage, and it's not that big of a spoiler to say that this is a very Dreadnok centered or centric story, because the title of this arc is Dreadnok War. It's right there on the cover. So it is, where the Dreadnoks step forward, and at this point, because of the slightly revamped and rebooted nature of the G.I. Joe continuity as we know it, the Dreadnoks are not led by who we remember or who we know them to have been led by, but a lot of their membership is still pretty familiar. So, I found that this issue really, more so than some of the other G.I. Joe issues, but obviously this has been, this has become far more common, more and more, where the distinct tie-ins into the Transformer side of the Marvel universe, the Transformer side of the Energon universe, is are really, really evident and very very much a key part of the story in G.I. Joe. And I think in this issue, that's just, forget emphasized. It's just, part and parcel of the story. So I'll hand it off to Roddykat for his thoughts. He's obviously been on this story, since day one. I'm a little late to the game, but at the end of the day, it's still pretty fun for me to read and do my best to catch up when I can.
Right. And actually, speaking of catch up, and I'll get to what Von Gloom says in a second, but so not only if you're of a certain vintage, it does bring in the Dreadnoks, and while in the Energon universe, a certain person associated with them, known to lead them, has only been spoken of, but not ever. Actually, I don't think it's ever been seen in the course of the Energon universe that I can remember. Exactly. Someone with a lighter version. Got talked about once or twice, but and that was only in what I'm about to talk about in a second. But we haven't really seen or heard of them. So just like the ninjas, we have not yet seen pretty much the core group that you would want, or the ones that you want to see. You see the siblings, you see the core Dreadnok group, but except for that one dude that drive the tank. You don't. I mean, the Mad Max vehicle, but we do see the vehicle. But that being said, so not only does this start off the 5-parter in the classic sense, or in the sense of an arc, but it also in the classic sense of G.I. Joe, because you see rumblings of them. You know what? Resources have gone scattered, so they have to look for them type situation. Which means that's a whole thing that could end up happening during the course of these 5 issues. And of course, and if you remember the miniseries, or at least one specific miniseries where the Dreadnoks were slightly heavily involved in how that one kind of went, there might be some things going on with that, but we don't know. But this particular issue was basically ended up being fled, but with with the unlikely buddy cop pairing of 2 folks who have met in the past on the opposite sides of the confrontation. But also, the part I was trying to get to was the fact that it gives you a lot of catch up to where you may not necessarily have to read both of those miniseries that these two folks, primarily starred in. And that being Duke and Cobra Commander. Although I would still say they're both still a read, but you get a nice little catch up in basically G.I. Joe Strike Files / card file format.
At the beginning of the issue, I needed that.
Yes. Yeah,
that was a huge value. That was a huge value add for me to really get me caught up on what's happened.
Yeah, and it's pretty much like, those are pretty much the main things of what happened in those two miniseries. So you don't necessarily have to read them, but I still maintain that they are still fairly decent for that. But that being said, like I said, you get the Dreadnoks coming in big here. You get some skullduggery by Destro that thought it works out for him at the end of this. Of course you see the thing set up the way it is. The whole buddy cop / fled situation that those two characters have gotten themselves into. I could have sworn when Duke showed up, when they sent him off to do the thing, that was a masked vehicle he was in, but I don't know if that was intentional or that was just me hoping that was the case, because it damn sure looked like it. But yeah, this one is a potential click of the week for me because of this. It was like, this thing's to kind of start off interestingly enough and kind of gives you, or at least it gave me shades of an old G.I. Joe 5-parter in a way.
Right.
There was no mass device, sadly, but or Weather Dominator or anything like that to go after. But the fact that there was resources to kind of still gives you at the very least partially mass device. Even actually, I think I'm going to say the doctor that even shows up might have been the one that had to do with the mass device. I can't remember. But regardless, for a start of this this arc and this Dreadnok War thing, pretty solid start, I think. And I thought it was kind of going to go one way, and it didn't, because I was like, wait, so they're gonna that whole situation with the Cybertronia that's in this book was gonna kind of come to light, and so far that hasn't been the case. So, Von Gloom says, Von Gloom said, Cobra G.I. Joe continues to give us an impressive Cobra Commander, which is true. A certain cowled shape changers mission, Cobra Commander is a bit of a fool for trusting people that he was wronged. But see, here's the thing about that though. Cobra Commander's like, no, I got the upper hand. So and plus what we know about Cobra anyway, like there's going to be somebody double crossing somebody one way, shape or form, regardless.
Of course.
Keep your enemies closer, right? There, So it wasn't like he was like, the same sniveling Joker from the cartoon who's like, what can I do? It was like, hey, you know what? Come at me if you want. But also it's still leading to what is happening in this issue. Von Gloom also says, I think Williamson's avoiding the extremely popular folk like a certain American. Yeah. So I think that was probably by design. We've probably talked about this before, and a certain explosive expert, I thought he showed up. The sprite that frames his brother and armed, and I thought he showed up. If we're thinking about the same one, but I might be thinking of something. But again, this book is still new, and because I guess they didn't want to just shoot their shot like right off the bat, because everybody knows, like, you got Snake Eyes in the book. What else do you need to do, right? And you're trying to build up this thing in a certain type of way. I suspect, like I said, that was probably intentional. Now, the question is whether we will actually ever get any of that, I guess. Like, they've already kind of set that stuff up in Scarlet, so it would be crazy if they did not. But on the other hand, they're saving it for a reason. Like, what that reason is, we don't know. Like the whole Quintesson War thing is coming up, and that's going to be one side. That's going to this thing is going on now. So maybe all of that, after all of that comes together, maybe some of that is going. Maybe they're waiting for issue 26. You know, there's a number associated with that. You know, I mean, there's reasons associated with that numbering in G.I.Joe universe for one or two reasons. So who's to say? And then they got that whole Night Force thing going on in there. So they've got a whole lot of things jumping.
Right.
I can't sit here and I'm not even going to try to sit here and try to excuse what they're doing, but I don't, you know, because we don't know. But the only thing I can think of is like, yeah, of course they're not going to do that right now because they don't necessarily need to. For one thing.
Right.
So whether they would want to or it in them to or not, you know. They're coming at some point. They have to. Just like Shredhead is coming at some point. I mean, a Shredhead figure is probably coming at some point. You know, put some money on it. You know, if you want to. But that being said, yeah, the pretty good issue. But particularly, like I said, you know, raise up your grape sodas.
I noticed that. I got a chuckle out of that.
I'm not sure Von Gloom because I feel like he might have shown up. I thought he might have showed up in Destro, or at the very least a few issues back. But that might not have been the case, and I'm thinking of somebody else. So I'm not entirely sure, but I feel like I've seen him. But I could be wrong. There's a lot of things happened in this universe. So like I said, I had to go back and check. But that being the case, that is G.I. Joe number 13. Hopefully the rest of the 4 issues, you know, continue along the lines that this is set up. Maybe we're going to get Zartan out of this. I feel like that's probably the thing. If anything's going to come out of this Dreadnok War, that would probably be the thing.
Right. That seems like the most sensible or logical thing to happen, but you know, we'll see.
Yeah. Because that's the one we definitely haven't really seen, or at least that we know of. We might have seen him, we don't know it. Could have been in disguise.
That's the nature of the character, right?
Right. And matter of fact, if that was the case, I can think of exactly where that person is if that was the case. But we don't know. So
yeah,
that means
as soon as you mentioned it, I had a candidate in mind.
And if it's the same one that I'm thinking of, yeah, we're kind of in the same boat. So we should see if any of that comes about. But we're going to move on to the next book that we have in common, which is Avengers number 32.
Avengers number 32 is written by Jed MacKay with art by Farid Karami, colors by Federico Blee, and letters by VC's Corey Petit. This was a good issue. I was a little disappointed, though, because we knew these characters were coming back. I was a little disappointed in one of the reveals in the issue because it made me... I flashed back to the weirdest memory. The weirdest reference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do musicals, you know, I like Hamilton, but I don't do musicals, and I think this is a musical reference.
Okay.
When they revealed the name of the real name or the original name of the Impossible City.
Oh.
I was like calling Robert Goulet.
Oh.
That's all I have to say.
That's
and
funny.
for whatever reason, as a child of the 80s, I knew who Robert Goulet was because of television.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew and I found out, I don't remember how I found out, that he was famous for like performing this, you know, in a certain or specific musical.
Right.
And sang about this, about this, use this name of the character in a song. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't know why Robert Goulet jumped in my brain the second I read that.
That is a deep cut.
You know, exactly. And with that, I'll hand it off to Roddykat. Because that's all I have to say about this show. I'm like, for whatever reason, this is what happened. It popped into my brain. You know, it wouldn't go away.
So the funny part about that, I went to Monty Python when that was the case because of a similarly named musical that they did. Um, and also this issue kind of had me questioning whether that Battle World book is a slight tie-in to this or not. I don't think it is, but because the fact that the Avengers are there now in this issue, and the fact that that book is going on now, and I think I want to say no, because there's definitely plenty of other people in that book that is not in here. But I think there is at least one or two that is in this book that is in that book as well. So that's probably what made me think about it. Regardless, yeah, they got Hyperion now. The team, they're still teasing us with X-Men like circuits, with something they did here. The city gets invaded again, and yes, we find out, as Agent 7 said, the original name of the city. And who, I think, as we probably already knew, who were the original, or definitely the former inhabitants of said city in the course of this issue. There was and also the X-Men found out how quote unquote hard it is to be Avengers with what they get into.
Right.
Which I got a kick out of that. I was like, yeah, okay, that's funny. But also, Jed McKay is also writing the adjective X-Men. So, you're going to play with the toys. You're going to play with your toys. Also, there was a reference that was made in this issue for a certain place in Antarctica in this universe that made me think of a Black Panther side character for its name. And I'm kind of wondering if that's what they actually did. That would be really funny if that was the case. But I don't know if that was or not. That would be a question for Jed McKay. Also. But lastly, it's another potential click of the week for me. And as it says in the beginning of the book, and me kind of editorializing, the cosmos shudders. And I said in my notes, and likely not because of Imperial. Oh, there's a nice little thing, right there for that, as that is now finished. So, we'll see as the Avengers continue to try to work over Kang, who's, kind of dealing them, or at least holding them off for the time being. And we'll see what happens as this unnamed new universe may or may not come into play. And may or may not have anything to do with the other other universe that is still up and about, and probably had nothing to do with the new universe that I wish came back for some way, shape, or form. But I don't know if they would even do it right at this point. Excuse me. So therein lies that. And I will get to a couple of these comments from the chat in a little bit, but we're going to get to our last book that we have in common, and that is Planet She-Hulk #1, which may or may not be an ongoing. I'm not sure.
Right, we are not sure. Planet She-Hulk #1 is written by Stephanie Phillips, with art by Aaron Kuder. Colors are by Sonia Obach, and letters are by VC's Joe Caramagna. I had a lot of fun with this book. The art by Aaron Kuder is really well done, right? And he's a favorite, so definitely pick this up for some really solid, really well done art. The story on this obviously spins out of the events of Imperial, or at least the Hulk's part in Imperial.
Definitely that one shot.
And the way, what's that?
Definitely that one shot.
Right. And ultimately, we have here a spin-off that leads into, hopefully, a good, or at least a starring role for She-Hulk, and gives her, a different playground, because it's a different motif, it's a different playground. We're not used to seeing Jennifer in this particular type of setting. It's obviously a way to freshen up the character's story, right? Giving, Stephanie Phillips, some more stuff to play with, some stuff that we're also familiar with, but not with She-Hulk involved. So I really liked one of the ways, well, one of the things that she did at the end of the book, really setting up the next issue, really setting up this arc. And I particularly liked, there's an element of politics, Game of Thrones, and intrigue that's established right towards the end of the issue. And I really appreciated that, and I'm looking forward to the next issue and the rest of this story arc at the very least. So, I think this is a candidate for Click of the Week for myself. How about you?
Yep, same. And yeah, like I said, if you did not if you did not read the She-Hulk one shot, the Imperial one shot, this definitely catches you up on things of that, because this is pretty much a direct continuation of that, especially with what happens at the end, because that even started off with a murder, and let's just say somebody that was involved with what happened at the end was involved with that as well. So, there's, and it was a cool thing. I wasn't really expecting them to do this, but we wasn't really sure what they were going to do with this book. And it also brings the questions like, well, okay, well, they did the one shot in Imperial. Why didn't they just make that into this, like, or I guess continue that into this like properly? But I guess there was a reason for that, especially with Imperial kind of coming to a close and doing whatever it did. But yeah, like I said, like I just said, it was a good issue. There is a little bit of fish out of water in a way for Jen in this thing that continues to happen because of that and what happens in the one shot. So, but nothing she's not necessarily used to, just not used to for so long. I'll put it that way. She's used to getting in scuffles here and there, but nothing where there's just control, where there's chaos is just on order at any given time. Well, at least not in this version of her. There's, you can say what you say about some other runs, but yeah, it's a good thing. I'm looking forward to seeing where they take this book and whether this is actually, is this gonna, are they going to be like this? This is just a story until until Bruce comes back, if he comes back, because at the end of Imperial, we're really sure whether he because of something that looked like, or this is going to spill out into another Jen back on Earth some way, shape, or form. Don't know. We shall see. So. That being said, before we get into rapid fire, let me clear up some of these, a couple of comments out the chat. So Von Gloom says, well, talking about the She-Hulk book, Aaron Cooter is worth the price of admission, as so agreeing with Agent 70. But going back to the G.I.Joe book, maybe Cobra Commander will give Zartan his powers or a lighter version. Possible. It also says, with Cobra Commander being a genius, we don't need Dr. Mindbender. That may be true, but one, you need a scapegoat, and two, hey, Cobra Commander can't think of everything. He might have his specialties, and Dr. Mindbender kind of brings another side of that. So, maybe not need him, but hey, might want him around for other things. Just saying. But that being the case, we are going to get into rapid fire.
Alrighty, folks, rapid fire review time. Here we go.
I ain't got time to bleed.
First up for me is Batman #3, published by DC, is written by Matt Fraction, with art by Jorge Jimenez, colors by Tumo More, letters by Clayton Cowles with Jorge Jimenez. So this is a pretty fun continuation of this story. Fraction's doing this in a very distinct, and Jimenez as well. They're telling this story in a very distinctly different way than I guess what we're used to in Batman and current Batman. You know, it's not Scott Snyder's Batman. It's not Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee's Batman. It's a pretty fun take. It's a pretty fun story that they're telling right now. It is very much deeply entrenched in current continuity, so it still loses me in places because I'm not caught up on current Batman continuity, and I think that's a weakness for the story, but it's only because I'm not that current on Batman. But otherwise, it's a pretty fun setup, and you know, I think the storytelling, you know, the overall storytelling, you know, the combination of both the writing and the art is inventive enough, is uh almost quirky enough to keep me coming back, right? Definitely a candidate for Click of the Week here. Next up is Amazing Spider-Man number 15. It's written by Joe Kelly with guest art by Emilio Laizo. Colors are by Marcio Miniz and Marte Gracia and Eric Arciniega, with letters by our favorite lettering python, VC's Joe Caramagna. There's a revelation here that we find, not to use Revelation out of context, because Revelation has its own context in the pages of the X corner of the Marvel Universe right now. There's a discovery of the nature of the costume that Spidey is inevitably going to appear in a new Marvel Legend at some point, right? And it's the character, this costume has been featured over the last several issues, when the story focuses upon Peter and his adventures in space. It turns out that this costume is another alien entity, but it's an interesting twist on that particular old story, right? So that part I had fun with. Rocket Raccoon is a very fun guest star in this issue, and Joe Kelly is writing Rocket Raccoon very much the way James Gunn writes Rocket Raccoon in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So that's a cool little addition to no slight. I don't mean anything disparaging about Rocket's height, but it's a nice little addition to the Spidey story to have Rocket there as well. Sorry. Got a case of the sniffles here tonight, folks. Mm-hmm. So next up for me is Amazing X-Men number 2, is written by Jed MacKay with art by Mahmoud Asrar, colors by Matthew Wilson, and letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. This is this is the next chapter of the Amazing X-Men book, which is basically one of the flagship books for this Age of Revelation, right? But focusing upon the adjectiveless X-Men group that Jed MacKay was writing, and what happens to them in the Age of Revelation. Where are they now, X years later, post the mutant virus, right? The virus released by 3K. So, it's a little convoluted. It's very much, a study on how relationships change over, over these kind of traumatic experiences, and what alliances are broken, and what loyalties are tested, or what new loyalties are formed and forged. So that is probably the biggest reason to read this, is just to see the twists that Jed MacKay puts these characters through, and to see how this is all going to possibly work out, maybe with lasting effects on the other side. So that's a reason to keep up with it. Next up for me, and last up for me, because I really need to blow my nose after this, is Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu number 14. It's written by Jed MacKay with art by Domenico Carbone. Colors are by Rochelle Rosenberg, and letters are by VC's Corey Petit. This is a very fun issue to read. Although I did have a groan-inducing moment during this issue because the big bad, the new reveal of a new character who is, I guess, has been part of a slow reveal, slow rollout over the last couple of issues, I believe, starting in issue 13, so now going into 14, was revealed to have a name that is very much based in a legal term. And to see that as an attorney made me groan. But I understood why. It made perfect sense to have this character named in that way. When you read it, you'll understand, or you might not because you don't have any experience with this particular aspect or this particular term used in this form. So it's fun. It's a good story. It is groan inducing for, people who have, this particular type of experience, but it's Moon Knight. Listen, Jed McKay is having a ton of fun with Moon Knight, has been for a long time. So, I continue to read it, and, when I get the chance to recommend it, I will. So that's it for me.
Is the character's name Jurisprudence?
What's that?
Is
No.
Is the character's name? Okay.
No.
All right. I need to catch up on
Hopefully,
Moon Knight.
I was going to say, hopefully you get a chance to read it and you'll see.
Yeah, I need to catch up on it because Silly Me was going to do the thing. It was like, you know what? I need to finish that last volume because there was like the last couple of issues of that last volume coming out of Blood Hunt, and then get into this one. But I had not done that yet, so there's it'll happen at one point. Also, is that MCU adjacent character still around?
Yes, that character's on the cover.
Yes, that's what I was asking because I don't know. Sometimes the covers don't, sometimes the covers don't say. So
yeah, no, that character is definitely around, very prominent in this issue and this story.
Yeah, makes sense. A little late for them, but hey, you know what? Good to see it. All right, for myself, we're gonna kick off with a little bit of Void Rivals number 24. Written by Robert Kirkman, art by Connor Hughes, colors by Patricio Del Peshmode. I'm sorry, it's just Del Pesh. I can't stand it. Every time I see his name, I just want to say Depeche Mode. Anyway, and
I was gonna say, who knew that Roddykat was new wave?
Hey, child of the 80s. You got into a little bit of everything.
Right.
And letters by Russ Bouton. So, basically, the Quintesson War is kicking off. It's starting up at the end of this, and that's where we get to with this. So we got a few people chatting here and there. So you have Zerta and Solilla chatting about, the hell have you done? You're supposed to do what I told you to do, and now things screwed up. That situation, which may be leading to something big happening, possibly at the end of Quintesson War, we don't know, or the coming of an entity that seemed like an entity that showed up in the Transformers the movie. They just have a different name for him in here for some reason. We don't know. We'll find out though. Witty's here talking to Pythona, who apparently has gained his trust. Willie is kind of, a little too trusting, but, it's Wheelie, what do you expect? But Python to get some information from him, but also sneaks off to go on another fact-finding mission. We find out what happened, where the folks are rebuilding on Agoria, which is Derek's, the main character's home planet. And what he's kind of getting into when he has a chat with his dad about future leaning things possibly for him. We also find that the two Cybertronians that are there get a couple of gifts, that being Hot Rod and Springer, that they could potentially use if they ever get back over to the Transformers book at a certain part of it. Because let's just say they could tip they could tip a battle or two or three with what they have with them, thanks to the Agorians. But like I said, the Quintesson War is incoming, so whether they're going to get a chance to leave with their new Crown Bounty, we shall see. And yeah, we see. Oh yeah, and we get a little bit more with our Skuxoid friend, who's apparently starting a revolution of his own, and we'll see what happens with that. I guess possibly also in Quintesson War. Next up, though, we get into the. Here we go. We get into the ThunderCats corner with. ThunderCats Pumara #1. I'm not entirely sure if this is a one shot or not. It seems like it might be, but I'm not entirely sure. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm fairly certain it is, because it kind of reads like one. Regardless, we get to see Pumara's past back on Thundera. We see what pretty much made her into the person that she is now to a certain point. Of course, there's a couple of cameos by a couple of ThunderCats adjacent folks in that past. In fact, it's the same two that's been popping up in other places in other people's books, like that last Chitara book as well. So it's kind of amusing. But yeah, like I said, we get to see how Pumara kind of grew up with. Which leads us into, but not necessarily leads us into, ThunderCats Lost #8. Excuse me. Also, I'm sorry, I forgot to give the credits, which they're going to share at least one. But ThunderCats Pumara was written by Ed Brisson with art by Alice Leclerc, colors by Arancia Studio, and letters by Jeff Eckelberry. Now, ThunderCats Lost #8 is also written by Ed Brisson with art by Rafa Labasco, colors by Rashawn Curichiano, and letters by Jeff Eckelberry. So, as I say in my notes, the Not Quite Titans get after the crew, and that means Attack on Titans. And if you've seen, what's that?
No, I said, oh, okay.
Yeah, but the Lost crew find out that they are the bad guys in a certain instance. All the while, Scorpius, who is Captain Shiner's person who's been hunting the Lost crew, may have caught up with them. While at the same time, one of the crew is battling near death. And while the other parts of the crew again find out that they are indeed the bad guys in an encounter, and also possibly coming to terms with, hey, wait a minute, some finding out some more information about the well, at least getting teaser on the situation with cats on Third Earth, at least a little bit. Put it that way. They don't necessarily get the information they're looking for, but now I assume it's leading them down to path to do that. But therein lies that. Next up is Absolute Green Lantern #8. Written by Al Ewing, art and colors by Janoy Lindsay, and letters by Lucas Gattoni. Excuse me. Another potential click of the week. I've had a couple this week. This is a new story. In fact, it is Jo Mullein's story as we get her background in the Absolute universe, starting from when she was a kid and basically the things that shaped her coming into the present of this universe, which also, we get some cameos by some people that have been in the book and one that I don't think hasn't been in the book, but a notable Batman side character also shows up in this book. Well, I know actually that character's also been in this book as well, if I'm not mistaken, at least once. But like I said, we get a little bit of what shaped Joe, and then we cut to the present, to where we left off from, I think, last issue, at the end of what happens at the last issue, and the affairs therein. So yeah, that was a pretty good read. You know, a little bit of backstory and whatnot, and we'll see where Absolute Green Lantern gets to after this. And that, folks, is it for me. Kliqs of the week.
All righty, Kliqs of the week.
So,
do you have your candidates? I know you said you had a bunch.
I do. Absolute Green Lantern is one. G.I. Joe 13 is another. Avengers 32 also was one. Planet She-Hulk also in that, actually.
Yeah, I'm between Batman #3 and Planet She-Hulk right now.
Okay. You said Batman's a third. Got you.
Yeah, Batman #3 and She-Hulk. Planet She-Hulk, that is. So I'm kind of weighing the two against each other.
Yeah, those are different ones. Actually, if I had to like choose two to kind of go up to go up against each other, it would be, for me, G.I. Joe 13 and Planet She-Hulk. Interestingly enough.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not sure. Actually, I'm kind of sure. Because, like I said, there's some. In my opinion, there was some strong stuff this week. Excuse me. Like, definitely G.I. Joe 13 was like, all right, that kicked off pretty nicely, and, well, depends on where that ends up going. But I'm thinking I'm just going to go ahead and give it to Planet She-Hulk #1.
You know what?
The things that make you say,
You know what? I'm going to second that. Planet She-Hulk #1 is my Kliq of the week also.
Nice. Yeah, like, it was really good. Like I said, even if you didn't read the Imperial one shot with She-Hulk, which you should, because it's still pretty good. I believe I want to say it might be the same creative team, if I'm not mistaken, but I can't remember. You don't necessarily need to, because it kind of catches you up with some of that, just not some of the stuff that you get to see in that issue. But it kind of onboards you pretty nicely. So, but also, if you're a G.I. Joe fan and you like the Dreadnoks, check out G.I. Joe #13. We'll see how that whole situation's shaping up.
Yeah, it's pretty much this. It's roughly the same creative team. Hickman is listed as a co-writer with Stephanie Phillips,
and that's only because of the Imperial, because it's in the world of Imperial. Because he was on all of those Imperial one shots as a co-writer because of that. So, but
I actually didn't read this one shot. I'm gonna have to go back and read it. So yeah, I definitely benefited from the quick recap at the beginning of this first issue.
Right. So, but that being the case, folks, those are our Kliqs of the week, and we're now going to go into the news section. But first, an ad read.
All righty, folks. Our first ad read of the night is for Wink, your personalized wine club. Wink is a world of wine delivered right to your door. From rosé to Cabernet to Torrontés, Wink has over 100 styles of wine to discover. Ever try an orange wine? Wink connects you to a world of exclusive wines tailored to your taste and delivered directly to your door. Wink delivers 4 bottles of wine to you every month with free shipping. You can pick your own bottles or let Wink choose and match to your taste. It doesn't cost a thing to become a member, and you can skip or cancel anytime. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can enjoy an exclusive discount of $20 off your first order. To place your first order with $20 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us/wink. That's cspn.us/WINC. Wink Wines through CSPN. Do it today. And now we get into the news.
Cinematic news we do about this time. First up, Hulu orders Southern Bastards pilot based on Jason Aaron's graphic novel series with Bill Dubuque and Nia DaCosta at the helms. So you one of those names, or you might know both of those names, but Nia DaCosta you may know from Candyman and The Marvels. Bill Dubuque apparently, according to this, is from Ozark and The Accountant, which I never saw that movie, but or that show. Now that I think about it, but yeah. So they are going to be writers and executive producers of it. Apparently, Matt Holmstead from Law and Order and Chicago PD will serve as showrunner and executive producer. The project comes from the Onyx Collective, POV Entertainment, and Proximity Media, in association with fifth season, where Dubuque has an overall deal. And of course, if you've read Southern Bastards, which I don't think either one of us. Wait, did you read Southern Bastards? Somebody did. I feel like it might have been Dirt. It might have been either Dirt or Tim, probably. I feel like one of them read it.
I know. I was about to say the one time I met Jason Latour, he tried to sell me on reading it.
Right. Oh yeah. So it's Jason Aaron and Jason Latour. Sorry, I totally forgot it was the two Jasons involved in that book.
Right.
Yes. But yeah. But here's a quick thing. Southern Bastards show follows a tenacious military vet into Carl County, Alabama, in search of her estranged father. What she finds is a murderous hornet's nest of organized crime run by the winningest high school football coach in the South, according to what this article says. So yeah, if any of that is of any interest to you, then hey, have at it, or go check out the book. The trades are out there. Next up,
Prime Video will add Spider-Man: Homecoming to its catalog on November 1st, 2025, which means it's already been there. The 2017 Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures film is part of Prime Video's new monthly releases. Okay.
Also worth noting, which we don't have in the lineup. Hey, guess what? Fantastic Four is out on Disney Plus. In case because it wasn't.
I need to go back and watch it.
Yeah, I might do that again. Although I could have done that because I had the physical release, but it'll happen. So yeah, there you go. Next up, there. Okay, I'm doing one too many things. Sorry about that, folks. Star Wars' newest show picks off where the Acolyte left off, apparently. So this is talking about Star Wars Vision season 3. Spoiler alert, not necessarily. Well, yeah, spoiler alert. I'll say that anyway, even though I'm not going to get too far into this. So apparently, this is for the first episode, The Duel Payback, which is the continuation from the Duel from the first season of Star Wars Visions. So I saw this article and I was like, I'm not entirely sure. And maybe that was another thing I was thinking about, but I don't think so. So it says here that let's pretty much get into the thing. So this article just goes into comparing how that episode compares to certain aspects of the Acolyte. I'm not going to go into reading what that specifically is, but you can check that out for yourself. If watching the Star Wars Visions and also reading this article. Next up.
Mark Hamill is more than happy to pass the lightsaber to the next generation. He's basically shared his thoughts on Ryan Gosling leading the upcoming film Star Wars Starfighter. And he's got nothing but admiration for the new cast stepping into the franchise. Okay. when it comes to so he told People magazine, Hamill did, he's been a fan of Ryan Gosling, and he became a super fan when he played Beavis on Saturday Night Live.
That's funny.
When it comes to offering advice, Hamill isn't interested in playing the wise Jedi mentor this time around. None of these people need advice from him. They're doing so well. He had his time. He's going to ask for advice from them.
And that's a very Hamill response. So, but yeah. And actually, according to this article, we found out when that whole Star Wars Starfighter is set. So it sounds like it's after Rise of Skywalker. So it's, after the last trilogy. We'll see what happens with that. Next up, though, Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 quietly broke Gene Roddenberry's most sacred rule, which I did not know this was a sacred rule, but I knew it was a kind of a thing. Basically, Pike prays. So, as this article says, Gene Roddenberry was a secular humanist who firmly believed religion would not survive into humanity's future. Hence why there's there's kind of religions in Star Trek, but not to the Anyway, it doesn't matter. However, the canon itself does not rigidly adhere to that view, according to this article. So yeah, that's the thing. Pike prays, and Roddenberry is probably not rolling over in his grave, Next up.
So fan favorite Disney animated series Gravity Falls releases its entire first season for free, and to celebrate Halloween. And let's see. So it's been released on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And you can check it out there.
Yeah, I know people like that show. I think I've only seen an episode, and that was just because I was in a probably I don't know, it was on basically.
Right. And you know what my attitude towards something like this is?
Who? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, we know. Next up, though, excuse me for a second. HBO Max has lost some of its best animated superhero movies. Cue Von Gloom saying Zaslav. So what we have here is on October 31st. According to this article, HBO Max didn't just lose Tim Burton's The Corpse Bride. It lost several original animated movies featuring Superman and Batman. And those are basically the older things, the older movies in the DCEU. Superman, Batman, Public Enemies, Batman and Superman, Battle of Super Sons, which actually that's not as new as the first one. Superman, Man of Tomorrow, Reign of the Superman, Death of Superman, which I still have never watched either of those, and Superman Unbound. And this article postulates where those might end up going now, probably Prime Video, who knows. But yeah, if you haven't seen those by now, oh well. Next up.
Alrighty.
Getting into a little bit of anime corner.
Transmute.
Alrighty. A group of major streaming companies that includes Netflix, Disney, and Crunchyroll have teamed up to take legal action against a large piracy platform. So their goal is to disrupt piracy at a massive scale, but the matter is already getting complicated as the pirates fight back. I haven't heard of this particular pirate site, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, basically, It's some of the smaller ones of which they feel like. I mean, I'm sure they're casting a wide net, big and small. But I think some of these may be the smaller ones that if you know type of ones.
Right, right.
Because yeah, some of these I have not heard of. Well, one of them I've actually heard of, but the rest of them I have not. So I'm not being actual when I'm saying this, but yeah, good luck to them on that. It's like Hydra. You kill off one head, the 8 more spring up in its place.
Right.
Actually, and that's funny because the Hydra comparison was made in this article. That's funny. I just noticed that. So yeah, and this happens every now and then, so it's not surprised. They got to do what they got to do, and some of these places are going to continue to keep pushing, one way, shape, or form. Matter of fact, Agent 70, take this next one.
KPop Demon Hunters 2 is officially happening, but fans will be waiting until 2029. So the K-pop demon slaying action is coming back, but Netflix and Sony Pictures Animation have officially confirmed that the movie is in the works, but fans will have to wait a while to see it. The sequel is currently aiming for a 2029 release. So that was reported that by Bloomberg that both studios finalized the deal to bring the sequel to life. So listen, that's good news. But yeah, that's a long time to wait, but quality does take time.
Yeah, but also some would argue like, well, by that time will it be too late? The iron is hot now.
Right. I mean, listen, I think they have, something else coming out, but in terms of like a straight sequel,
Right.
This is, you can only produce it so quickly,
Right. So, and I'm sure, and fans are, if fans are, in a lot of cases, will continue to be fans. So it's not like, I'm not saying that to say that, it's not going to be unwelcome when it actually finally comes out.
Exactly. And listen, the mainstream will pick it up if the music remains or is good, So, that's really been the driver of its popularity, is that the music was just good, the story was good, so that there's still something to be said for quality being sparking or creating word of mouth that just created a giant wave of popularity.
Right. But see, that also brings up the other question, which is similar to the statement that I made, is K-pop is going to be a thing in 2029, as big as it is. I mean, the genre is not going nowhere, but I'm saying, is it going to be as big as it is? Or will it, just like other, genres that have a moment, is it just going to go back,
Well, I think the K-pop moment itself has been ongoing. If you think about the music,
Yeah, but again, for how much longer? Like this, things go in cycles, is all I'm saying.
Sure.
So, who knows? We'll find out. Next up, there.
I was about to say, I mean, there's still plenty of K-pop shows and concerts going on right now. From groups that I've never heard of. Obviously, there's the mainstream ones that I've heard of,
right?
But they're still popping, and this movie obviously serves to keep that particular train going.
Yeah, but that's the point, though. Like I said, the genre's not going anywhere. And as of right now, it's still pretty hot. How long? That's with anything else, we'll have to see. So
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Cancel Shonen Jump series creator returns next year with a new manga, and that new. Oh wait, who are we talking about here? Actually, Morihiro Hayashi is coming back with a new manga. Oh, I'm sorry. Star of Beethoven came out this year. Let's see, and failed to gather readers or even receive praise from critics. According to this, the manga was axed. Let's see. But the creator will soon be returning with another manga in winter 2026, in the issue of Jump Giga magazine. See, the creator will only release a one shot, and the details are unknown, including the release date of the issue. So we don't necessarily know what the manga is. Just know that creator that I mentioned is the one behind it. And yeah, therein lies that. I have never heard of Star of Beethoven also, so therein lies that. Next up.
Yeah, this is like a news story that I don't want to talk about, because it's politics, just it's groan inducing because, it's just a quick story about the Senate voting to repeal tariffs, but that bill isn't going anywhere because of the current state of affairs and our political system, our national political system. So, that's just depressing. Not happy to see the story.
Yeah, and understandable, but hey, it is leaning towards what we talk about, so it had to be talked about one way or the other. Star Trek First Look shows off next sagas for Captain Janeway, Kirk, and Strange New Worlds crew. So basically, this is a preview, some previews from IDW Publishing. One of which is kind of ongoing right now. There's Star Trek Red Shirts number 4, which came out this week, and I did not get a chance to read. Then we got some preview pages from that. And also there's a Strange New Worlds book, which is going to be on issue number 3 this month. And there's also, and I'm pretty sure the next one is probably that. No, it's Star Trek Lower Decks, which is still kicking in comic book form, which is going to be at 13. And probably that starred, and some preview pages of that if you're interested. And Star Trek Voyager Homecoming, which is the one I thought was going to be the case, and some preview pages from that. So if you're interested in either of that, you can check them out in the article in the show notes. Next up.
DCKO #1 sells out. Scott Snyder's new series are already heading back to press. Neither of us read Night Fight, which came out this week.
True.
But yeah, there's lots of DCKO stuff going on.
Yeah.
Now it's a second printing, but a lot of stuff, has been getting second printings recently, at least when it comes to this DCKO, just the recent newer DC stuff.
Yeah, I actually went to when DCKO came out, I went to my shop and it was like, yeah, no, they were clean out. I'm like, now I don't know how many they actually ordered in the first place, but apparently they went fast. That book went fast.
They're fighting. Let's buy the comic. What are you gonna do?
Indeed. Oh no. Oh, okay. You know what? I'm probably gonna have to put this in for this week, just to get that one out of the way. But we'll get to that in a second. Next up, 1977 Spider-Man strip in Clover Press's January 2026 full solicits. So yeah, they're basically reprinting the Spider-Man newspaper strips. I remember reading some of them when I used to visit Florida, because we did not have that strip here. Funnily enough. Because the paper here is shit. Let me stop. That's not true, or maybe it is true. I don't know. Who's to say? But regardless, I know they have. I thought they had hardcover reprints of those strips, but this might be a different, another set of those, because I feel like I've seen them on Amazon. But yeah, Amazing Spider-Man classic newspaper strips, trade paperback from 1977, written by Stan Lee and with art by John Romita. It's going to be $29.99. It's going to go on sale February of next year. So if you haven't had a chance to experience the Spider-Man newspaper strips, then you should. because they were interesting, if anything. But with that, we're going to go to the next story, which is
Scarlet Witch has been, revealed in solicits to be Marvel's new Sorcerer Supreme, succeeding Doctor Doom in a bold new direction. Steve Orlando and Bernard Chang helm the new Sorcerer Supreme comic series launching this December. Wanda's going to be facing magical challenges from Agatha Harkness and Limbo's ruler Madeline Pryor. We're obviously going down the witch's road, down the witch's road. Exciting covers and creative team shake up Wanda Maximoff's role in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, Marvel spoiled the shit out of that. They couldn't just, and there's supposed to be, as somebody mentioned, there was supposed to be a book was supposed to be like, who is going to be the next Sorcerer Supreme type book, and they've already spoiled it. So what would be the point of that book even coming out? We don't know. Either way, next up, Marvel teases Armageddon, Chip Zdarsky's universe-shattering event, according to this article. This June, the Marvel Universe is headed for Armageddon, and nothing will ever be the same. We've heard that one before. The byline to this article says, this promises to redefine the Avengers forever. Because, get it? Avengers forever? Yuck. Yeah, that. But yeah, it's written by Chip Zdarsky. The event promises to shake the foundation of the Marvel Universe, redefining the Avengers in a way not seen since the Avengers disassembled. The road to Armageddon begins in an upcoming issue of Zdarsky and Valeria Schiti's Captain America, and ties to the recent developments from the Ultimate Universe, of course, where Miles Morales returns home carrying the mysterious origin boxes in Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion number 5. So, and you can see the poster right there. If you were not, it says, witness the origin of the end. Armageddon assembles June 2026. So therein lies that. Next up.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I just added that one to the lineup.
The Iron Fist Reborn, Lin Lee, leads Marvel's greatest martial artist in Deadly Hands of Kunlun #1. Now that's an interesting take. So a new Iron Fist comic book series from Yifan Jiang and Paco Medina launches in February. Oh, okay. So this February, Lin Lee returns in Deadly Hands of Kunlun, a 5-issue series from writer Yifan Jiang or Jiang and artist Paco Medina. The story marks the next chapter in Lin Lee's evolution as Iron Fist and a major turning point for the character's legacy.
If that turning point means turning turning things back over to pay where it should be, great. As you can see, if you're watching the video version, you can see the cover where an undead Danny Rand is still undead, probably, and still around, along with Lin Lee, whatever how you pronounce his name, and Pei at the front, which again should be the Iron Fist, the one and only. All I'm saying. So, rest assured, we will be talking about this one way or the other. Next up, more Marvel Legends pre-orders from this week. Let's see. There is the Retrocard Kingpin and the Zabu Build-A-Figure Wave cable figures from Hasbro. There's the Lux X-Men Nimrod that also goes up for pre-order, which is actually already on pre-order as of the time of this recording, or the day after this recording for some cases. See, there's some reissues, like the 20th anniversary Captain America and the 85th anniversary Astonishing X-Men Wolverine figure that are both going on sale on November 6th. The Nimrod is on sale November 5th, which is today as of this recording. Let's see, is there anything else? Okay, nope, that's it. Yeah, there you go. Those are they. So yeah, if you're interested in any of that, check your place where you get your stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that you can reorder that Captain America anniversary figure. That's a pretty solid figure.
Indeed.
That's a pretty solid
you have
figure.
a
Yeah, I
number?
guess. No, just to revisit the previous story that I spoke about. I guess we just need to settle on how to pronounce Lin. I'm gonna go with the actual like English pronunciation, Lin Lai. That's
Right.
probably how we're supposed to say it.
That's what I was thinking too, but we have never really gotten any confirmation. No one has ever, as far as I know, has spoken it out loud that we have seen.
Right. So I think we should just stick with Lin Lai. Just read it as it is.
Right.
And not try to put any inflections or just because we've run into enough versions of this kind of group of names like Lee and Lei that I think that we can read this as is and say that his name is likely pronounced Lin Lai and safely go with that.
Yeah. Either way, I honestly don't care enough about the character to care that much about it. But
yeah, right. We just want to we want to leave him in the dust. But at the end of the day, he's the he's carrying some sort of there's some sort of reason why he's prominent. He's been made prominent at some point. So.
Yes.
Right.
But yeah, these pre-orders are out there, so looks like you can catch it. Next up, actually, I'm about to say we're 2 minutes to midnight, so either way, one of those is going to happen. Next up, though,
new Venomized Hulk premium format figures coming from Sideshow. Sideshow unleashes a new premium format Venomized Hulk statue fusing two of Marvel's most fearsome icons, standing over 24 inches tall, depicting Hulk battling for control as the Venom symbiote consumes him. Features masterful sculpting, intricate paintwork, and dynamic details. Available for $960 with pre-orders live now and then expected release in August 2026 via Sideshow Collectibles.
I mean, if you're watching the video version, you can see the figure in all its splendor. It looks good.
Yeah, absolutely does.
I don't care either about it that much to spend that kind of money for that figure, but hey, it's a good looking figure either way.
Oh no, it's a statue.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say
gotta go with the distinction. I know. Yeah. But yeah, it's a good looking statue. So there you go. Next up, though, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra delayed beyond early 2026. So, according to this article, GTA 6 is the only high-profile video game delayed. Wait, they delayed GTA 6 again? Jesus. Okay. Anyway, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra has suffered a delay of its own, coming just after an hour that Rockstar announced GTA 6 had moved from May to November 2026. No one thought it was going to be in May anyway. Nobody. Come on. People have been around these streets enough to know that GTA is going to go holiday. And usually does. Anyway, Skydance Games announced that that it was delayed beyond early 2026. Which realistically, if they were trying to get out of the way of GTA 6 as things were trying to do, they didn't necessarily have to now. But Skydance Games said that the delay was necessary to, quote, fully realize our vision. Technically, no new release window was offered. So, yeah. Oh, and this is indeed yet another delay to Rise of Hydra, which in May was pushed out of 2025 to early 2026. And for those who don't know, this is the Captain America and Black Panther and the Halloween Commandos game that is set in 1943. That was announced like 2 years ago. Was it last year? It might have been last year. I can't remember. Either way, according to this, it says last year for the State of Unreal. But yeah. Anyway, that's that. Next up.
What are we up to? Is this the Teases Mall?
Yes.
Hasbro teases Maul Shadow Lord with a new Star Wars. Give me 1 second. This is a new Star Wars figure. This is the vintage line, and you know, that's actually pretty cool looking. You know, based off of the character's later appearances. So this vintage collection is the 3.75-inch scale. So you can pre-order it on Hasbro Pulse for $19.99.
Yes, when he after he became half the man he used to be,
Right.
got put together again for some stupid reason. Next up, though, I will take these next two.
Nap time.
Wizards of the Coast plans Secret Lair Avatar: The Last Airbender Superdrop, which no surprise there. It's on a date tied to Avatar: The Last Bender Boosters set release, which the Superdrop will launch on November 17th during the pre-release for Avatar: The Last Airbender the set, which runs November 14th to the 20th, and the official release for the set is November 21st. So get your pre-orders in for that set, because that's going to be a banger. That's just me saying that. Let's see, 5 Magic the Gathering cards are included in the My Cabbage's Superdrop kit set, which is a great name for that. Chain of Vapor, Meltdown, Nature's Claim, Anguish Unmasking, and Putrefied. The 5 cards will be available in 2 versions, foil and non-foil, as Secret Lairs tend to do, at $29.99 and $39.99 respectively. And an additional Superdrop set will be announced soon. And I'm pretty sure this article has links to the cards that you can look at them that's going to be in that Secret Lair. And the next article is also Avatar: The Last Airbender Magic the Gathering related, in the fact that Jet makes his Magic the Gathering debut in 4 new cards. Those cards are shown here on the article, and if you're watching the video version, you can see me scroll through those cards themselves. Of course, red Jet would be red, because that just makes total sense for him. But yeah, that Avatar set is going to be pretty good. I hope. I think so, from judging by what I've seen so far. Next up,
Hasbro unveiled new Transformers figures at MCM London, including Combaticon Brawl and Blast Off. Combaticon Brawl stands 5.5 inches tall and converts into a green tank in 23 steps for play. Brawl features classic design, multiple accessories, and articulation for display. And pre-orders are live now for $42.99, with Transformers Blast Off set for a February 2026 release.
Curious they're not just doing a whole Combaticon set, but there's probably also a reason for that. But then again, it's not like that's not a thing they've ever done. So I don't know why I even brought that up. Yes, next up, though, something we probably have mentioned previously, but new Transformers Junkion arrives from the junkyard with Jalopy. And this was announced at MCM London. Junkion Jalopy stands 5.5 inches tall, fully articulated, and converts in 17 steps to off-road vehicle. Pre-orders for Junkion Jalopy are live now, with a $27.99 price tag and a February 2026 release date. This slightly looks like another figure that I remember that I used to have, and it wasn't a Junkion. Nevertheless, last but not least,
Star Trek Collectibles. This article is a Star Trek Collectibles roundup. XO6's First Contact Wharf, including new fan sets, pins, and fan homes, next returning Starship models. So first up, there is an estimated delivery for this new Wharf EVA suit from First Contact figure of second quarter 2026. It's going to cost $285. Damn. Plus shipping and tariff charge where applicable. It's, got a removable helmet, lighting elements in his EVA suit, a phaser rifle, Klingon, not Batleth, Mechleth
There you go.
weapon. Goodness gracious. And a detached Borg arm to wrap around his leg. Kapla! Let's see here. So we have Fan Home announced that they're bringing back 20 large-size Star Trek Starship models from the old Eagle Moss days, and now you'll be able to buy the first few re-releases, the USS Cerritos from Star Trek Lower Decks and the Classic Enterprise from the original series are already available for individual purchase at the Fan Home website, with the next 4 returning ships set to join the Fan Home lineup over the next few months. Okay.
Yeah, we definitely talk about that one, those ones. I would kind of be interested in getting into Defiant, but I know those things are not cheap.
The USS Enterprise D will become available in mid-November, and the USS Enterprise C will be available in mid-December. These will be followed by the USS Voyager in mid-January, and the USS Defiant will dock in mid-February. Due to the popularity of these ships, Fan Home has set a limit of 3 copies of any one ship on their checkout process to limit large quantity buys, and they warn that stock is limited, as once they're gone, they're gone. How much are these running?
$95 each.
Oh, that's not terrible.
No.
They're die-cast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when that this was announced on back in while you were at San Diego, so I remember talking about it then. But yeah, You also have a mobile emitter from Voyager. You also have badges, not badgie. I'm sure there's probably a badgie somewhere in here also, but also pins. So because pins are still a big thing, which has always been crazy to me. So, with that, folks, that is that. And that is the end of the news for this week. Let us get one last ad read.
Alrighty, our last ad read of the night. Keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us, then click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, or Marvel Legends. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment that helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through CSPN.us. Do it today.
All right, folks, we're going to head on out of here. I don't think either one of us has anything notable for show and tell. I mean, I don't think you want to see a box of magic cards.
Right, I just got something in, but I did not have a chance to open it yet because of travel and stuff. So I believe it is a Hasbro Pulse shipment. It is, I believe, the Gladiator and Deathbird 2-pack. I think.
Okay,
but
nice.
I'm going to confirm that in a few minutes, and I'll have that for next week.
Right. I mean, all I got is just crap. You can barely see it, but it's just a box to put magic cards in, and which means that I have the task of sorting out a bunch of magic cards for this thing. That's going to be a feat.
Does it do like auto shuffle? I'm just teasing.
That would be the dream. That would be.
I'm sure. I was about to say, I'm sure you could put magic cards in one of those card shuffle machines.
I mean, yeah, you could, but they're not gonna like do them in order. They're just gonna shuffle them.
Right. No, that's I mean, in my mind, that's the point. But I'm just playing. Like I have no idea how any of that works with magic.
No, I mean it depends on how you want to sort them. You know, either by color or by alphabetical, or whatever the case may be, just like any other collection, or by set and whatever the case may be. It's a whole thing. Anyway, folks, we're gonna get out of here so that Agent 70 can get some rest, and take some medicine, hopefully, and we will be back next week with some more shenanigans again. And hopefully by the time next week happens, maybe some streams of some stuff that I've been meaning to get to. But we shall see. That being the case, I have been Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at News Nerds Need on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. Agent_70 on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. You can also find this here podcast on the Cold Slither Podcast Network. That's cspn.us.
Do it today.
You can also find us on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps people find our show.
Indeed. And again, you can also find us recording mostly every Thursday night, 9:30/10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/TheKliqNation and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, hit that notification button so you know we're on live. Smash that like button, and be kind. Leave us a review.
Maybe we can get Agent 70 on stream when Marvel Cosmic Invasion comes out. We'll do
We'll see how it works.
Yeah, we'll do a playthrough. That should be easy enough to set up if it's crossplay. But anyway, that's future things. All right, folks, that's it. This has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
Peace. One.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Good evening, friend. Would you believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?